do the things you think you cannot do. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a little bit of a story time. I'm going to be talking about my journey to becoming a student from having a full-time job, why I did it, and how it all happened. So yeah, before I start, I'd like to take you guys back to when I was doing my honors back in varsity. I think this was 2016. It was a very hard, very difficult year, very hectic. I had so much anxiety. Like my whole class, everyone had a lot of anxiety because there was just so much work, and it's a very hectic program. And then it was also during the time of the Fees Must Fall movement. So it was protests, you're protesting and you're trying to study, and it was just, there was so much happening, and it took a huge toll on my mental health, and I just had so much anxiety. So when I finally finished school that year, I was like, I am never ever going back to school again. I used to tell my mom that. I remember I even said, I will never set foot at that institution ever again, because I was just so damaged by the experience. And I didn't even care that I didn't have a job yet. I was willing to sit at home and wait till I got a job. And I did that. So I was home from November and applying, going on interviews, and all of that. And then I eventually approached a recruitment agency, and they told me to come through so they can interview me, get to know me, and get to know what sort of jobs they can be on the lookout for me. So I went there, and one of the questions they asked me was, what is your vision with your career? What do you want to see yourself doing? And I was like, I want to end world hunger. I want to stop anemia in Africa. I want to be part of the people who make sure that child mortality rates decrease. And those were the things I was saying. And then the lady was like, well, your best bet at doing that is if you were to be in an academic or research institution. And I was like, nope, not gonna happen. There's no way I'm going back there. Like, it's fine. I will get a job in the food industry and do the same thing every day. That's just how traumatized I was. About 4 months later, I was fortunate enough to be hired permanently. I got a permanent job in Utene, which is a small town near PE. And so I packed up all my clothes and I moved there. And it was a really well-paying job. Like for a graduate, I was getting paid really well. And I was living my best life, you know. After 6 months, I bought my first car, and I was doing a little bit of traveling within the country. Me and my friends would go on friendcations, and it was just a really nice time. But then throughout my time working at that company, I always felt like a void. I always felt a void in my heart that I actually want to study further. This can't be it. This can't be my life forever. I would like to study further. And then I tried to pursue, I did some research on maybe pursuing an MBA. And I remember I inquired at NMU. But then I could feel that I was doing it just so that I can have something to do. And I got back home from work, it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And I'm not really the type of person who would be into running a business, maybe, I don't know. So yeah, I just always felt that this can't be it. I have to do something. And some of my colleagues who were doing their MBAs, I remember I'd always be so excited for them and support them and all of that, because I really admired that they were furthering their education, and that made me so happy and excited. Yeah, so then it just so had 2 years after after 2 years of working at the company I was working at, it just so happened that they moved me to the factory that was in Pretoria, in the Pretoria Harties area. So I was very happy about that, because I was coming home to my family, to my then boyfriend, who's my now husband. And so I was extremely excited, because I was, in as much as I enjoyed YIKES, I was very, very, very lonely. And I'd spend most of my weekends indoors. I wasn't very outgoing, but yeah, I was quite lonely, but it was still nice, but I was a bit lonely. So I moved back, and I was living in my mother's house, traveling to work every day. And that's when I thought, okay, maybe let me apply to UNISA for MSc in food science. And that didn't work out. They didn't accept me. They said they don't have enough supervisors. And I said, okay. Then I was like, okay, let me apply to UP, and also at the same time, let me see if I can apply for part-time jobs so that I can work and study at the same time. And so I went on an interview for a part-time job. So I went to the interview. It was a very casual thing. We met at a restaurant and we sat down, and then told the guy my story. And he was like, why do you want a part-time job? And then I said, because I'd like to further my studies, and I'd also like to still continue working, because yeah, I just wanted to continue working. And then he said something so profound. He was like, don't be half pregnant with a vision. Either you have the vision or you don't. And that for me was like, boom, wow, okay. I never forgot those words. And all the while I kept on telling my boyfriend and my friends that I want to leave my job. This is not what I see myself doing for the rest of my life. I would like to be in the academic/research space. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to apply for res, and if I get res, then I am quitting. I'm resigning. I'm gonna sell my car and I'm gonna move to res, and I'm gonna do it full time, and I'm gonna go for it. And then I applied, and then one day I went to UP and I inquired how far I am on the waiting list for res. And then I explained to the lady that I'd like to be in res because I want to quit my job and I live too far from school, and you know, I want to be in res. And she was like, wow, you're quitting your job? Yeah. So, and then a few days later, I found out that I was accepted in res, which is a complete miracle, because res at UP is always full. And yeah, I was just so fortunate. And then the moment I realized that I was accepted for res, I typed my resignation letter, and I first called my HR manager, and then I also called my manager to let them know that this is what's happening. And my manager was so devastated. She was literally like, Zamo, why would you do that to me? Shame. Yeah. So I sent in my letter and I served my 4-week notice. And at that time, I didn't care that I don't have funding. I was like, I had when I started working, I was viciously saving money. I was saving a lot of money every month. So I wasn't worried about the fact that I didn't have funding, like who's gonna buy me food, or any of that, who's gonna pay for rates, who's gonna pay for my fees. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just like, I just need to get rid of this car because I'm not gonna be able to pay for it, obviously. So I sold the car, and my then boyfriend, who's my now husband, was like with me every step of the way. He was driving me to all the dealerships, trying to get the best deal for the car, and he's the one who helped me move into Res, and he was just there the whole time supporting me. So I sold the car, moved into Res, and then I went full force into school. I was basically the last person in my cohort, my master's cohort, to start, because everyone started in like January and I started in like April, and so I had so much catching up to do, and I went all in. I wasn't giving myself a break. December, I was on it, holidays, the whole time, and I ended up finishing after a year and 6 months, whereas the recommended time for finishing is 2 years. I finished in a year and 6 months. That's how hard I went. And I recently found out that I actually passed my master's degree with distinction, which was huge for me. It's like so huge. And I'm getting emotional telling the story, but yeah. I passed with distinction, and I just want to encourage you to do the things you think you cannot do. Go for your dreams. Make the sacrifices you need to make to be able to get to where you want to be. So in case you're wondering what's next for me, I will be registering for a PhD. So I'm going to be doing my PhD, and I look forward to it. I'm very excited about that. I am loving academia. I am loving the research environment. It's so good for me. It's so me, and I'm really happy I took the jump. I took the risk, and I've never looked back. So that's my story. Let me see if I think I said everything I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'll be sharing a bit of my journey on this channel here and there. So please subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it.